from around here," she said quietly. For some reason, it didn't sound like a question. It sounded like a warning. "Nope." I tried to smile, without much success. "Just passing through. Can I get a coffee and a waffle breakfast? I've still got a long ride ahead, and only if you're sure." I couldn't tell what she was trying to make me understand, but something about the whole situation, the empty, too-clean diner, the fat black fly that had begun to buzz around my head, the nervous expression on Donna's face, only way out of here. The young man shook his head and fiddled with the radio dial. The staticky voice of Waylon Jennings accompanied us as we sped past a green reflective sign. "Population 5,879, read the second line, but the first line was distorted. Whatever the name of the town had originally been, someone had crossed it out with spray paint and replaced it with a single word, Michaeladom. With its white-sided houses and lawns strewn with children's toys, it could have been any small town in America, if it weren't for the huge shadow on either side of us like an honor guard. I was surprised to find that the house looked mostly normal inside. A little messy, maybe, but not a nest or cobweb in sight. Fake smiles and hollow cheers. Their queen sat back and crossed her arms, satisfied.
"As a punishment for not having fun, Max, why don't you tell Mr. Stranger here why the breath hits are stuck to the wall?" "Yes, Queen Michaela."
The boy practically saluted. He looked up at me and took a ragged breath.
"Mr. Breathhead used to own, the biggest mill in town. The house was his, but..."
Max glanced nervously at Michaela, who nodded for him to go on.
"But
First, and the centipede skittered across my naked skin in a panicked frenzy.
it wasn't supposed to be like this.
Michaela sniffed.
My controlling parents, my stupid teachers, assholes like the Breathheads. I thought once I'd made them all pay, I'd feel better. But now they're all just dead. Even though everybody does whatever I tell them to, even though everybody worships me, I feel even worse than before."
Michaela clenched her hand into a fist, and a rain of snuffed-out fireflies fell from the sky.
"I hate this place. I'm getting out of here, and you're going to take me."
"I don't know if that's a good idea."
"Don't you dare question me."
Michaela snapped.
"You.
Michaela scoffed.
You'll probably go right to the cops as soon as you drop me off."
I didn't have a reply to that. I just felt grateful she didn't plan on killing me outright. 5 hours later, we were idling in the parking lot of a large bus station. Traffic screamed by on the highway overhead, and I could smell the reek of gasoline, garbage, and fried food even with the windows up.
Listen to your spirit. Trust it. Wild Turkey Bourbon's recipe hasn't changed in over 100 years. Why? Because
it seemed so real. I could almost still feel the grip he'd had on my throat. It took a while for me to accept that I hadn't actually been stabbed, but that didn't mean that what I experienced didn't really happen. Now, 2 weeks after the incident, I realized what it was. The Grim Reaper doesn't come for you in a dark robe holding a scythe. He comes for you as you, but it was very light, as if the inside had been hollowed out. I cocked my head and looked under the boulder as I pushed it, the irregular shape of the rock allowing me a gap about 6 inches wide in which I could see only darkness. "Do me a favor, would you, Sylvan? Push on the rock to turn it like I'm doing now. I want to look down into the hole with my flashlight." Sylvan looked at me, apparently saw that I wouldn't be dissuaded, and then pushed on the rock, shifting it on whatever hit, smiling at Sylvan. "What? What is it?" he asked, letting the false rock settle in its original position. "There are stairs. If we turn it all the way over and hold it like that, the divot in the rock will allow us to get in." "Screw this. We don't know where this leads, man," Sylvan said. "Fine. Sarah would kill me if I ever let anything happen to you." I felt a little guilty, but not much. I had been able to... It would traumatize them for life. This thought terrifies me, and I stop walking. People weave around me. The image of that little girl stumbling across my dead body fills me with dread. So that's why we're going to the cave. A silky, snake-like version of my inner voice says, that was always the plan. It still is the plan. Go to the Ramble, find the sealed-off cave, and put a bullet in my head. I force myself to walk again, trying to ignore the happy screams of the children. It's cold. I crossed my arms as I searched for the thermostat. Jesus Christ, I muttered to myself as I raised it from 40 degrees. Looking around the house, it's exactly what you'd expect from an elderly residence. Black and white photos, Knickknacks with fading paint, country kitchen decor, and lots of those "home is where the heart is" type signs. The most modern thing in there was a flat-screen TV. After checking out the first floor, I made my way up the creaky stairs. As I ascended them, I suddenly left my head feeling like a bowling ball. As I poured a coffee, I felt like I could collapse where I stood, but I had another long day of dusting shelves and watering plants. For the rest of the day, my feet dragged across the floorboards. Walking back and forth down the upstairs hallway, I always glanced at the peculiar door at the corner of my eye. Something about it just made me feel queasy. My neighbor said I could call her if I needed anything, but this felt stupid to bother her about. It wasn't my house spot, but there was no key above the doorframe. Pulling open drawers, I pilfered through a bunch of hoarded junk, but was met with no keys. After the failed attempts, I chewed on the inside of my cheek as I brainstormed. Suddenly, a light bulb lit above my head. I jogged upstairs as I pulled a bobby pin out of my hair. Lockpicking wasn't a skill I had previously picked up, but there's a first for everything. I jammed it into the lock and jiggled it around as I grumbled curses to myself. Fuck, I sighed as I yanked the pin back out. Another light bulb. Sunlight means a window. I stepped outside and made my way towards the backyard. Observing the house with squinted eyes, I searched for where the window would be. But as I scoped out the entire house, my brows furrowed. I couldn't find it. I stood puzzled as I scanned every inch with my gaze. It was impossible. The back wall of the room should have been right there. The only logical explanation was that the light I saw was a lamp or a ceiling light. But why leave a